We went ice skating on stuff, and I said, so sometimes that's the pictures, TV gives me, and the Chiefs TV gave me. Anyway, they took a picture of these, so I said, she don't have a picture.
Did that a couple weeks ago, but I don't know. Who knows?
Where the little Italian pizza places next to where the ice cream used to be, there was this cookie store there for about 15 minutes. They were there when we all needed to buy skates, because we hadn't had any reason to buy skates.
Where is that picture of them back there?
What does your shirt say?
If you speak into that, it's better for the recording, and you can turn this wherever you
Okay, great. I'll just kind of scan. Okay, great. Okay, okay. Okay, okay.
Yes. We have to go back to 1908, so there's some kind of that.
You ready, Linda? Well, let's do it. Is this thing? I don't do well with this. I'm going to stand up here.
I'm ready.
Morning, group. It's 9:30, so we'll start. I hope people will come in. I know it's early for many people. It's a real pleasure today to be able to show you photographs of Mathews County from the air, taken in the 1970s and Easter Sunday this year.
Yes.
But this is Linda Grove. She's a native of Gloucester, but her father's a Hudgens, so you know there's something over here in Mathews connected to her.
Yes.
Her husband is David Grove. Stand up, David. I know you're shy. This man has been flying for more than 50 years over these counties. He was happy to take these pictures for us with his friend Peter Cohen. All the modern photos are due to them. These photos are mostly from Gazette Journal files. I'm happy to see people here to see this. We're going to leave these photos up all day. We have 2 more shows coming later today. Fun to see. I'm not much for talker, but I do want to encourage you, after Linda stops talking and you ask her all the questions, to walk around. We have pictures up here. Look at everything close up. There's a few more on these panels than you will see up there. Thanks so much for coming. We'll turn it over to Linda, who's a good talker, and I'm not.
Thank you, Elsa. Thank you, Elsa. Thank you all for coming. This has been our pleasure to do this presentation. It's been fun for all of us. And it was a great way to honor Walter Becknell for his pictures of the past. He did Gloucester and Mathews. I want to point out a few things. When you're looking at places from the air, it takes a moment to get your bearings. So sometimes look for the church or the roads or a landmark that you might know. How this all started, I was in Elsa's office talking about the presentation that we did for the Guinea Heritage Museum at Buck's store in Guinea. And the idea of picture taking Walter's pictures and taking new pictures was from my good friend Jenny Snowden, who is very active at the Guinea Museum. She thought it would be fun to see the changes in Guinea, and we thought so too, and also with Mathews. That day that I stopped by, Elsa said, I wish someone would do that for Mathews. And I said, oh, we can do that. I'll go home and talk to David. We can do that. And I think he'll be happy to do it. David's reaction was so funny. He said, let me see. You want me to spend more time at the airport and you want me to spend more time flying. I don't see a downside to this. So I called Elsa and said, let's get started. It was a team effort. Elsa set us up. She gave us a map that had all the numbers of everything that she wanted. She gave us pictures like this that Mr. Becknell had taken with directions and so it made finding them much easier because some of the things have changed so much. It took us quite a bit to go back and figure them out. David went out before Easter and took some of the pictures, and he found that he needed another pilot. He needed someone to fly while he was taking the pictures. So our good friend Peter is here with us, and Peter did that for us. Weather became a worry. Elsa and I were starting to get a little concerned. If it wasn't raining, it was blowing too hard. So Easter Sunday, we finally got a break. David flew our airplane some, which is the yellow and green one here. It's a 1946 Aranca Champ. David restored it a few years ago with original 1946 colors, which is yellow and green. Not the colors I would have chose, but it's perfect where it stays at a farm in Gloucester at Bubba Lee's grass strip. Our airplane cruises about 80 miles per hour. About our other pilot, Peter lives in Newport News, and he is a project manager for NASA. I'm going to read this because I don't want to mess up. He leads a team researching development of the X-59 research aircraft. So what that means, that aircraft will fly faster than the speed of sound without causing a loud sonic boom. Pretty cool stuff. Peter's airplane was used for most of the pictures. It is a Rally, which is a French airplane. It cruises up to 150 miles per hour, and it can take off and land as short as 400 feet, which is quite impressive. The Rally was imported in '77, and he and Dave were cowboys in the sky that day. And what I mean was they had to do a lot of tight turns. They'd put it up on the edge so they could get the pictures, trying not to get the wing in. Elsa and I know that we could not have made that. I'm a nice straight and level person in the airplane. And they had a great time doing this, and then they went for breakfast at Hummel. And they were at about 1,000 to 1,200 feet when they were taking the pictures. They took 200 pictures that morning. If you were at church Sunday, Easter Sunday, you probably can see your car in the parking lot. We have some of the churches. My love for Mathews starts with New Point and the lighthouse. Our family, my sister here, Jean Marie, we camped at New Point in the 50s, especially 4th of July weekend. Dad bought a Coleman stove, a lantern. We took our blankets and a tarp and slept under the trees. My mother grew up in D.C. That was not her world. It really wasn't her thing. We had lots of good food. She fried chicken on the beach. Daddy caught fish. He fried those. We had potato salad, green beans, and all the desserts, just like we were at home. And the whole family would come out. Aunts and uncles would bring their boats over and they didn't spend the night. We were the only ones that spent the night. As kids, we had no idea how much work it took to put all that stuff in Dad's boat and take it out there and then bring it back, especially if it rained in the next morning. But we loved it. It was nothing but pure fun and lots of wonderful memories with our family. The night the lights were taken out of the lighthouse, we were there. And I remember we always loved watching the beam go around, and Dad said, tomorrow night you won't see it. And it was kind of eerie to have it all black. When Dave and I got married, we still went out to New Point, but we did day trips. We stayed in the boat a couple of times out there, and I bought fried chicken and made chicken. I didn't drag all that food out there. Our mother didn't drive. She tried once and gave that up. And so she was home all the time. So on Saturdays, she would say to Daddy, let's go for a ride. Let's go somewhere. Dad took us to Mathews. He drove down roads leading to the river. I'm sure he was looking for the road to the lighthouse. And eventually he did find that. That was really pretty cool, so that we could see the lighthouse. And I'm positive that was not the outing that Mom had in mind when she said, let's go somewhere. But as kids, we loved it. We stopped at the grocery store in Mathews. We bought a loaf of bread, lunch meat, cheese, the smallest jar of mayonnaise I ever saw, some drinks, which was a treat for us. And down another road, we would go out and look at the river. We found fish houses. Dad told us that our granddaddy played fiddle on the fish houses on the weekend. I'm sure that was with his brother. And we found in one of them an old cardboard sign that said dance 5 cents. That stayed in our garage for all of our lives. As a kid, I didn't realize I had more of a connection to Mathews. I was born in Wareneck, and so was our grandfather, Samuel Lee Hudgens. And I believe his connection is to New Point. But that's my next project, to figure out that. Our great-grandfather's name was John Hudgens. There are pages of John Hudgens that I'm trying to find the right one. Back to New Point, with Nature Conservancy, when they put up the no trespassing signs, I was pretty upset. David called them, told them our connection, and they were pleased because they wanted a contact. So they made me the steward of the island, which sounded like something, but mostly it meant we went out and we went out a little more, and we picked up the trash, and we did a report once a year and took members out to visit it. One of the things about that I loved through the years is when we were first going out there and picking up the trash, as the years went on, people became more aware and they took their trash back. I thought that was wonderful. The members were quite surprised when they would approach the island and saw how small it was, because all they were thinking of was this huge land that was out on the bay. And I'm sure that's from some of the deeds that they were reading from original. A few of the things that we want to point out to you on some of the panels. There's a number of New Point over there, since it's so special to all of us. The proposed development at New Point in 1904, and I was thinking was 26 lots. Peter said that there's even more because some of those areas. But can you imagine the view you would have had from that area if that could have happened? Some pictures are from the Gazette, as Elsa said, some are ours, a couple I think are Al Carpenter's. The excursion to New Point, 1908, that looks like a church outing. In 1925, the big house is gone. 1940, the last caregiver there, Henry Dow. In 1948, Captain Robert Rowland Hudgens, that was taken from the top at the light. 1977, the big freeze. Elsa took those with David, and the work dedicated in 81. In that talk, it talks about that when they gave the land back to Mathews, and I was known as the steward or going back until it was given to Mathews, and then I no longer had to do those reports and things. The island over time, and the pelicans, that's some of them that are labeled restoration. They're just beautiful pictures. They just give you a very special place to all of us, and it's nice to look at. It's sad to see the changes. The storm of 33, as you probably especially know growing up in this area and in Guinea, that started a lot of the destruction that also hurt New Point. Changes for the high school, we have some of the older pictures, and then we have some of the beautiful pictures that show that beautiful new building. You have 1939, 1969, 72, and this year 2024. There's some other panels also of the schools here. Christ Episcopal Church, this one right here. One of the things that we noticed with the pictures doing in Guinea, the land was much open. It was so much more cleared land, and now you see so many more of the trees. When you look at that, the one from 1960, you can see the view of the creek, you can see the marsh very clear, and now you could hardly find the house, the church. The growth is so full around it. Williams Wharf, we have several panels on that. In the early 1900s, when the sailboats were before that, the sailboats were slower, took longer to go back and forth to Boston and Norfolk. Now in 1900s, the steamboats made everything go faster. One of the jewels that I used to look up some of the things is this beautiful little book. This was done by Catherine Brooks, Walk With Me. It's so full of who owned what was going on, and there's a couple of things in there that I'll share with you that I just thought were so cool that you might already know about, but I'm sure hopefully some of you will be surprised. The storm of 33, Williams and Hicks Wharf were destroyed by the high winds and the tidal waves, like so many other places. After that, the mail was delivered by truck, not by steamboat. Mail for Williams Wharf went to Mathews, and then it closed in 1943. Mom Jack, that's always a favorite. I've always been taken with the name, and in her book, she mentions, I'm going to read you just a little thing. The name all began with the Indians calling the point where East River empties into a bay by a name meaning bad land. Always wondered why it would be a bad land, but thus the white men derived Mock, M-O-C-K. According to traditions, a pirate named Jack was mobbed and thrown overboard in the bay near this point. The name Mob Jack dates back to the early 1652, and it was recorded after 1800 to be Mob Jack. The name referred to the small bay extending from New Point Comfort to Guinea in Gloucester. So it's always been probably a unique phrase, and I've always been interested about that. In 1960, you can see the workboats, you can see the docks and the buildings, and now you can see some of the old dock left, mostly beautiful homes. Sandbank, another beautiful place on the bay. The docks go out in 1963. You can see the dock work and the workboats. In 99, only poles are standing. Now beautiful ground, and it's a good shot of the campground. Studs Creek, again, lots of open land, and now mostly trees. Gwynn's Island has always been another place I can imagine how isolated it was before, as people had to travel, as she talks about in her book. I'm so glad I had kept this book. It's interesting to go back because I'll forget a lot of things and go back and check on her work. This says that the traditional story of Gwynn's Island, that Pocahontas, the daughter of Powhatan, almost drowned while boating in the Piankatank River. Hugh Gwynn saw the fair maiden struggling with her boat, capsized in the stormy waters. Rowing to her location, two and other people rescued Pocahontas, who gave him the nearby name in gratitude. From that time on, it was known as Gwynn's Island. You can see the channels in the panels really well. You can see how some of that has changed. When Elsa and I were working on the pictures in the office and putting these together, I started out with saying, oh, this one's my favorite. Oh, and then a little later, oh, I think this one's my favorite. So I have a lot of favorites. There was no ferry in Gwynn's Island until 1894. It's known as the oldest and busiest swing span bridge. That came in 1939 and then recently restored, and hopefully that'll last another 85 years. Twig Bridge in Piankatank Rivers, that bridge opened in 1953. The bridge has changed lives for all of us, even in Gloucester, the York River, the time it took to get from point A to point B. She talks about in her book how hard it was, how long it took you to get from your house across the river. The beauty of Mathews is just stunning, and the history is so interesting. We hope you enjoy the pictures as much as we have doing them. We hope you enjoy seeing some of the changes. Also, I wanted to tell you before I end, I would like for you to know that we have pictures also at Guinea, and we have a lovely little museum in Guinea. And on my days that I'm not working on Saturday, I invite you to come by, or any Saturday from 10 to 2, and come visit. It's like stepping back in time, a lot like Mathews. So it's a lovely little place, and they still make the recipe that Buck made at his store. So with that, I want to say thank you, and I hope you enjoy them, and we hope we can answer your questions. Certainly not an expert on Mathews, but I do love your county. Thank you.
Questions about Mathews? Questions about flying? Questions about where next?
Well, get up and walk around and enjoy them and look at them. We're here for a while.
And
And
before you
just,
dismiss this group,
yes,
I want you to know how very much the Mayfair Committee appreciates what you have done. Thank you. It's
Thank
been a
you.
wonderful gift to us.
Thank you. Thank you, Elsa Turret. Thank you. Thank you. So get up, browse, and they're all in here also. You have panels on this